Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Stuhan. Welcome to the closing ceremony today. I have the privilege of giving a special memoriam and also recognition of one of our exceptional colleagues who will be retiring after an amazing career. I want to provide a remembrance for a longtime emergency management professional, Franz Fredericks, who left us too early. After a short but hard-fought battle with lung cancer, Franz passed away with his loving family at his side. He married his high school sweetheart and love of his life back in 1975 while stationed in Hawaii. After discharge from the Army in 1979, he continued to serve his country through his continued work as a consultant in the field of emergency management. Franz supported many significant program improvements, such as the recovery and restart of the DOE waste isolation pilot plant, and that's just one example of many. Franz was a man of great integrity, perseverance, intelligence, dedication, wisdom, honesty, loyalty, humor, and required little time for him to make a profound impact on somebody's life. His job kept him away from many routine life events, but he lived for family meals, watching his kids, and then grandkids' sport events, sometimes with a little bit too much enthusiasm. His beautiful children wanted more years, but thankful for the COVID summer, that allowed Grandpa to be working nearby and give them many wonderful memories, both of fishing at the lakes and tales around a campfire. Franz will be missed as well as remembered. Next, I want to give special recognition to Robert G. The EMI SIG community is losing a valuable asset to the steering committee as Robert G. is retiring as a Senior Director of Emergency Services at the Y-12 National Security Complex, effective September 1st. In this role, Robert has been responsible for implementing emergency services strategies and practices in order to protect personnel, national assets, facilities at the Y-12 National Security Complex. After receiving his degree from Western Carolina University, Robert served as a U.S. Army officer for 4 years, where his duties included biological, nuclear, and chemical defense. Following his military service, Robert worked for 10 years as an operational health physicist at the Savannah River site before beginning a career in Oak Ridge, where he worked at Y-12 since 1991. While in Oak Ridge, Robert achieved more than 30 years of leadership experience in radiation protection and emergency management, including serving as the emergency management department manager at Y-12 for several years, prior to being named director as well as senior director of emergency services. Robert also served as a team captain for Region 2 Radiological Assistance Program for 10 years, where he was responsible for leading teams of radiological responders on missions in support of federal, state, county, and municipal agencies. Robert has served as an EMI SIG community, as part of the EMI SIG community for many years, providing presentations, sharing his knowledge and his experience he accumulated in emergency management. Robert has been such a valuable asset to the EMI SIG steering committee, where he served for numerous years and also served as the steering committee chair. As Robert begins the next chapter of his life as an assessor for the Office of Enterprise Assessments, we know he'll continue to do great things. He gives countless hours over the years to make emergency management better, and we thank him for all he's done for EMI SIG, as well as the emergency management community. This organization, Y-12, and the country are better because of Robert's service and leadership, and we are indebted. I personally have always been impressed and envy of Robert and all those glossy E833 reports he gets at Y-12. These reports are simply a reflection of Robert's exceptional leadership, understanding of DOE and NSA emergency management, and the great team he has at Y-12. So Robert, as you join E833 team, I only ask you for one of those glossy reports when you come to Sandia, pretty please. Again, congratulations, Robert G. We're happy for you. I won't take up too much more of your time, but I didn't want to pass up the chance to thank all of our EMI SIG steering committee, the subcommittees, and all of our EMI SIG members, our NA41 sponsor, as well as our EMI SIG operations team for an incredible annual meeting. It's amazing how much has been accomplished over the last year. It's equally impressive to watch the presentations and glean some of the exceptional work that's been achieved across DOE and NSA Enterprise within emergency management. I have myself already requested some products to benchmark as best practices that I've seen this week. This will be my last EMI SIG annual meeting as the steering committee chair, and I simply want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to lead the steering committee for 2 years and be part of something special, important, as well as relevant. I intend to remain an active member of the steering committee. Next up is one of my favorite parts of the annual meeting, the awards ceremony, which is a chance to recognize our fellow colleagues for their contributions to emergency management. The exceptional professional who will host the awards ceremony requires no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways. I'd like to introduce you to Daniel Gleaves, who will transition to the steering committee as the chair, and he will take the EMI SIG to the next level of excellence. Daniel Gleaves serves as the Senior Director of Pantex Emergency Services, which includes the Pantex Fire Department, Emergency Management Department, as well as Nuclear Emergency Support Team. Gleaves has 20 years of experience at Pantex, all serving in emergency response-related positions. Prior to his current position at Pantex, he also served as a radiation safety technician, directly supporting weapons activities and emergency response, both a frontline and department manager in radiation safety, the Continuity and Emergency Management Programs Manager, an entry team responder, the Environmental Safety and Health Director, and Emergency Operations Center Manager as part of the Pantex Emergency Response Organization. Daniel holds a Bachelor's of Applied Science with an emphasis in business from the Wayland Baptist University and a Master's of Business Administration from West Texas A&M University. Please welcome Daniel Gleaves.
So David, thank you for passing the torch, and really thank you for your leadership of the steering committee for the past 2 years and really before that. So you were the vice chair to Robert for many, many years. Your leadership on the steering committee has really kind of guided how EMI SIG as a whole has moved over the past several years. And your involvement in EMI SIG and your continued involvement in the steering committee will continue to shape the future of EMI SIG. So thank you, job well done. I've got big shoes to fill, but I'll give it my best. So as David alluded to, we're to the best part of the week. So everybody's waited to see who was going to win the awards this year. So we'll start with the Mobile Mogul Award. So we do have a repeat offender. Mobile Mogul with 251 points, surpassing his point total for 242 points last year. It goes to Raymond Baez Perez. Hashtag Millennial Madness. Raymond, good job, and we appreciate your interaction during the annual meeting. Next, we'll move to the Best SBX exhibit. This year's Best SBX exhibit is awarded to Carol Applet from Warvar with her interactive presentation on what's new in WebEOC. Sorry, Carol, if I messed up the pronunciation of your company. Congratulations, Carol. We look forward to your sponsorship of the new WebEOC user group starting in October. Next, we'll move to Best Presentation. And for the first time in SIG history that I've been told, we will again award the Best Presentation to last year's recipient, Thaddeus Kedzierski from Lawrence Livermore National Lab. His entertaining and relatable presentation on work from home burnout was interesting and very applicable to what we're all living through right now during COVID. Great job, Thaddeus. Looking forward to what you present next year. The next award is the Federal Member of the Year. This year's Federal Member of the Year is awarded to Yuri Graves from the NNSA Nevada Field Office. Yuri has been an emergency management practitioner for 27 plus years with experience at local, state, and federal levels. Yuri currently serves as the emergency management specialist for NNSA NFO and the IAEM Region 9 president. Yuri's been an active participant in numerous subcommittees, providing insight and guidance that has positively affected the EMI SIG community and NNSS. We'll move to the Contractor Member of the Year. The Contractor Member of the Year is awarded to Melissa Douglas of ORNL. Melissa is currently the chair of STARS, and under her leadership, she was the founding member of the Design Basis Threat Working Group, established the STARS Book Club, developed the Skills Matrix concept, and was the primary contributor for updating the Fundamentals of Hazard Survey Development online course. She's presented at several EMI SIG annual meetings and was a key member of the team that won the best presentation at the 2020 virtual award meeting. Congratulations to you, Melissa, and you, Yuri, for being the members of the year for this year for EMI SIG. Finally, Subcommittee of the Year. So this is always a very very competitive an award for each subcommittee because all subcommittees do a great job throughout the year. But we had to pick one, and this year we're recognizing all the outstanding contributions by the EMI subcommittees, and the Subcommittee of the Year award is awarded to the DOE Meteorological Subcommittee. I'd like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the outstanding leadership of Chair Walter Schalk and Vice Chair Carl Mazzola. Through their leadership, the DMSC members published DOE Meteorological Program Guide, including Qualified Meteorologist, DOE Meteorological Capabilities Brochure, drafted a 5-year assist visit rotation schedule, and developed field office instrumentation matrix and a meteorological requirements matrix. And they established the numerical weather prediction working group. Congratulations, Walt, Carl, and all the members of the DMSC. So with that being said, the award ceremony is over, and EMI SIG is coming to a final. I'd like to end with a few closing comments and then pass the mic over to Mr. Freshwater. Some takeaways. Wow. I mean, this really has been a great couple of weeks. We've seen a lot of great presentations. I've attended a lot of the subcommittee meetings in the week prior, a lot of good discussions, a lot of good information sharing. So it really has been a beneficial couple of weeks to myself and I assume most members of the EMI SIG community. I want to point out how important EMI SIG and each of you are to your sites that you represent and to the success of the DOE emergency management and continuity programs throughout the entire DOE complex. The 35 years of dedication and commitment of this community to the advancement of EM and continuity has shaped our environment into what it is today and will continue to steer the direction that our profession goes in the future. This is a testament to the great professionals, each one of you, that we have within the DOE and within the EMI SIG. Now, with that being said, I have to bring up the C word. But COVID, in fact, has made the importance of EMI SIG in this community all that more apparent to me. As we have and continue to respond to the challenges of the pandemic, EMI SIG, through its subcommittees and their routine meetings and projects, through peer-to-peer relationships and networking, and this annual meeting allows us to stay in touch during this time of social distancing and continue the tradition of collaboration, information sharing, and pursuing excellence in EM and COOP at each site across the complex. Through this year's annual meeting, we have proved to be no different than the annual meetings in the past. It has been absolutely amazing. For me, this week has been a welcome break to the craziness of day to day and refreshing to hear others' ideas, challenges, and accomplishments. So if you talk to the guys I work with here at Pantex, you'll know that I always like to identify some takeaways from the things that I attend or listen to. So I've actually got 3 takeaways from SIG this year. The first one is this group of people is well prepared and resilient. So I've heard several times throughout this past week, we are the COVID kings and queens of the DOE complex. This group is the group primarily responsible for the successful DOE response to the pandemic. From planning for, responding to, and recovering from the pandemic to adapting our programs by proving in virtual concepts for response and EOC, developing processes to continue the day-to-day business, and ensuring that requirements of EM and COOP are met to the best of our abilities, we've done this all while others have stayed at home. This shows the dedication and professionalism and resilience of this group of people. That's the first takeaway. Second takeaway, this group of people is interested, dedicated in improving EM and COOP across the complex. We share our failures, our challenges, and our successes. Sharing successes is easy. Sharing failures and challenges is rare, but this group does it, and this group is professional and wants others to learn from their mistakes and challenges. It's rare, in my opinion. And the third takeaway, this group of people are ingenious. I want to just provide one prime example. So Kip and Michael from NA 41 and their title to their presentation, Seeing the Forest for the Trees, Developing a Common Operational Picture. I mean, very ingenious, even down to the title. This group takes pride in what they do and really excels. I do want to mention, if there was an award for best presentation name, they'd win for sure. So Jennifer, maybe we'll do that next year. Very quickly, before I pass the mic to Mr. Freshwater, I do want to put out some thanks from myself for this great week and really the great past 2 weeks. I'd like to thank the Deputy Secretary, David Turk, for his keynote address and leadership overall of DOE. I'd also like to thank Associate Administrator Chief Hopkins and Deputy Associate Administrator John Jusky, and Director of EM Policy NA 41, Mr. David Freshwater, for their leadership of NA 40, the EM and COOP communities throughout DOE, and their leadership of EMI SIG. Jennifer, I'd like to thank you and your staff. It's not just the annual meeting. You ensure EMI SIG operates on a year-round basis, from hosting subcommittee meetings, making sure that every I is dotted and T is crossed throughout the year, to how well executed this annual meeting is, whether it's in person or virtually, is great. And I'd like to thank you and your staff for that. I have to mention Alliance AV. This is really a seamless operation that you guys do, and I thank you for your participation in our annual meeting. I've already thanked David, but again, I'd like to thank David Stuhan and the rest of the steering committee for the leadership that you guys provide and really the overall vision for this annual meeting. And then most importantly, I'd like to thank all the members of the EMI SIG. This annual meeting, this community would not be possible, and DOE, EM, and COOP would not be as good as it is without you. So with all that being said, it's been a great annual meeting. Mr. Freshwater, I'd like to turn it over to you for your closing thoughts.
Good afternoon or good morning. Thank you, Daniel, for that introduction, turning it over to me. Again, I'm David Freshwater. I'm the director at DOE's Office of Emergency Management Policy, NA 41. It just happens to be an organization located within the NNSA. I'm also the sponsor of the EMI SIG. Thus, it is my pleasant duty to have that most coveted position standing between you and the next thing. I've got lots of experience of this in past EMI SIG meetings where I was the guy who stood between the audience and the lunch break. Oh, that's right. I'm also standing between some of you and the lunch break again today. I promise I won't speak for a long time. First, we've talked many times during this meeting about the legacy of the department and the EMI SIG. So historical fact for today is the 76th anniversary of the second nuclear weapons explosion. Today is the day that we did the bombing of Hiroshima. We all, of course, hope that these weapons are never used again. Turning back to the EMI SIG, I'd like to thank my staff for putting together and conducting another excellent annual meeting. Please give them all a virtual round of applause. Verna Woods, Carol Eifert, Lori Guerin, Rodney McFarland, Bernie Plow, Kimberly Regulato, James Sheridan, Singh Singleton, Paul Stoudemire, Scott Stoudemire, David Waldron, and Marquise Weaver. And especially the queen of the EMI SIG, Jennifer Hutchins. I'd be remiss if I also didn't publicly thank our subcontractor, Alliance AV, who recorded the presentations, directed those of us doing live TV, like this presentation, and made things work behind the scenes. It's a lot of work to make this meeting happen. I'm sure that you all agree that they made us all look good. Please give them also a virtual round of applause. I'd like you to join me in recognizing the hard work of another individual, Kenneth Thomas of NA41. Kenneth is leaving DOE on August 20th to accept a private sector position, helping to deploy new nuclear reactors in the US and around the world. Kenneth says that small nuclear reactors and their designs are his jam. Let's offer him a virtual round of applause and wish Kenneth best of luck in this new endeavor. I'm sure that his path will cross the EMI SIG once again. Thank you to Robert G. for his years of service, David Stuhan for his leadership of the EMI SIG for the past 2 years, and Daniel Gleaves for taking on the leadership of the EMI SIG and the EMI SIG Steering Committee. I'd also like to add my congratulations to the award winners and also congratulate all the presenters at this year's virtual annual meeting. You made it a difficult decision for the steering committee last night. Please give all the presenters a virtual round of applause. For the 2021 annual meeting, we've had new presenters and presentations from facilities that are not regular contributors to the annual meeting agenda. I'm sure you will agree that those presentations were some of the most valuable presentations. As you reflect on the conference today or next week, think about making the annual award decisions more difficult next year. Start formulating your ideas for topics to share, innovative ways to present, or great presentation titles for next year. We will have a new award next year, the best presentation title. Several of you had really interesting and creative titles, but the steering committee wanted to not give an award this year so that we have a fair chance for everyone. So we'll do that next year. Planning for the 2022 EMI SIG will start soon. In fact, it's already started in concept. We're going to plan for a face-to-face meeting next year. We know that not everyone will be able to participate and travel to the face-to-face meeting. In the last few meetings before 2020, we tried things to allow those who couldn't travel to listen in to the presentations. But we've learned a lot from the past 2 years of virtual meetings. My staff will take those lessons and apply them to the 2022 and beyond annual meetings, making those meetings actually into a hybrid. Some of you who have to keep the home fires burning may miss out on the hallway conversations, but we'll work to make your virtual experience even better next year. The EMI SIG has always been about adapting to new changes, new things, and new ideas. 30 years ago, we were sharing training products and needs assessments produced under a new concept of systematic approach to training. Several days of the 1991 New Orleans annual meeting were devoted to establishing a common understanding of how to plan, conduct, control, and evaluate exercises. This year, as you know, we've had blocks of presentations on how to conduct training, drills, and exercises in a virtual or socially distanced environment. 18 months ago, how many of us thought we would ever man an EOC for an unclassified emergency completely in a virtual environment? We've heard presentations recounting experience and lessons learned from operating in this new environment at this year's annual meeting. As we shift away from telework and return to the site or office, we're all going to face new challenges. As emergency managers, this is what we do every day. Use our experience, plans, procedures, equipment, and infrastructure to adapt to new challenges and threats. We make sure that we protect the health and safety of our workers and the public and protect the environment. We figure out the things that work best and make them part of our plans. And then we share our successes and failures so that others can improve their programs. As a last final reminder, please fill out the overall EMI SIG survey. which will help us prepare for next year's EMI SIG. I can't wait to hear your presentations and ideas at the 2022 annual meeting, which may be held in July in San Jose, California. Finally, on behalf of Deputy Secretary David Turk, the DOE's Senior Emergency Management Official, Deputy Undersecretary and Associate Administrator Charles Hopkins, Deputy Associate Administrator John Jusky, the other NA40 directors, Ryan Rockebrand, Stephen McGuire, and Kevin Moore, and the EMI Steering Committee, thank you all for your participation in the EMI SIG activities over the past year in this annual meeting. You ultimately make the EMI SIG successful. We look forward to working with you in the new year. Be safe, get vaccinated, beat COVID, and we hope to see you in San Jose. I hereby declare the 2021 virtual annual meeting closed. Thank you.